Okay, welcome everyone to the Pro Trade Room Plus, the 10-year auction. My name is Lee Goldstein, Trading Director for 10 Minute Trades. Please remember that all the trades we discuss are for educational purposes. It is possible to lose money trading futures. Okay, so give me 1 second. I'm streaming this on YouTube. If you feel like watching, you can on YouTube. And we are looking at the 10-year auction. And it looks like it's working. Okay. Okie dokie. So we've got a dual setup event. Let's take a look at the DMM. Okay, can't see you. Okay, hold on. Let me just refresh the screens. How about everybody else? Can you see? Can you not see? Give me a heads up. Let me know. Good here, good here. Okay, don't do anything, Roz. Let me just refresh. It only takes a second. See if that helps. Okay, so Roz, I've refreshed. If you still can't see me, it's on your end. So everybody, let me know that you can see, so we know everything's fine. Okay, let's get cracking. So we've got a DMM, and there are two setups. The bond reports have definitely been trading better, as you'll see. So we've had 3 in a row that have looked pretty good, and we also have a secondary setup, and I'll show it to you in the video. So hold on 1 second. So that's our regular setup, and we also have a YM setup. That unfortunately was left off the DMM. So let me see if it shows up in this video or not. If not, I'll just explain to everyone what the setup is. All right, I'll explain to everyone what the setup is. On the YM, which is a very good setup, give me 1 second. So we're going to trigger 1301.30. It's a breakout trade. And I'm going to try for a bracket of 8. We'll see in a minute if that's going to work or not. And we're going to have position size 1 is a 1, position size 2 is a 1. And we're going to use targets of 8. You can use targets anywhere between 6 and 30. So target 1, anywhere between 6 and 15. Target 2, anywhere between 12 and 30. I use the target 1 stop move, break even minus 1 on 3, break even, and the stop on this trade is 15. And then I label it like I always do. So, important elements. What time are you triggering this event? 1301.30. What's the bracket? I'm going to try for 8. And then the stop is 15. Whether or not you like to use the target 1 stop move is up to you. Break even minus 1, 2, 3. You can trail. It's really up to you how you'd like to manage the stop. When this report works, it tends to have a very bursting kind of a YM move. Checking the brackets. Now the market seems to be a little bit awake. So I don't want to get filled before the auction. I absolutely don't want to get filled before the auction. Okay? Should that happen, I would like, if I have my wits about me, if you're really awake and you are able to tell that you got filled before the news comes out, you can cancel or close your first trade, right? And then you can try to catch the move, if that's what it comes down to, on the secondary reversal trade. So I'm setting up a second reversal of 20 ticks with a stop of 15 ticks and one position. We have not had to deal with this. I mean, that's the truth. We haven't had to deal with it. In general, we've been able to survive our brackets without an issue. Remember, with a reversal, all you need is a position, a target, and a stop. A reversal is entered by buttons. It's not entered by a time situation or by a bracket. It's a discretionary entry. Okay? It's not something I'm going to look to use unless it's absolutely, it's almost like an emergency backup. But you got to be awake, you got to be ready, and it may not present itself as a good opportunity. So it's there, it doesn't hurt anything by being there. The regular setup, which is just a breakout, triggers at 13:01:30 with a bracket of 8 and a stop of 15. Now, if the market is kind of quiet like this, then you shouldn't have to do anything, okay? Wait for it to take place. All right? Right now, it looks like the 8 bracket is surviving, okay? Right now, it looks like it will survive. But it can be volatile, so you can use up to a 10 bracket on this event. You can use a 10 bracket. There's usually enough movement in this event that a 10 bracket is perfectly fine. Okay? That's, one of the decisions that we make. It's on the border. I'm leaning towards a 10 bracket because the market is getting busy. The market's getting volatile. I don't like giving away profit, but I hate even more getting filled early. And the bond reports, you could wind up 45 seconds waiting for the result. It's possible. It's not usually what happens, but, we go through this all the time. What usually happens is not what usually happens, right? What can you say? What usually happens is not what usually happens. So it's up to you if you want to use an 8 or a 10 bracket. I'm right on the fence right now. I'm on the fence. So I'm going to try to survive with my 8. Try to survive with my 8. And again, you can test it. You could make sure your time is set to 0. And you could watch your brackets come on the screen and you can gauge the market volatility. It's really borderline. Okay? It is borderline. All right, we've got a little bit of time. So for now, that's the bracket is 8. 13:01:30 on the trigger time. All right, our charts. Don't forget to make sure that you label your trade. Both trades have different names. All right, and then also make sure that you have the correct account chosen for whichever trade, whichever setup you're trading. So our charts, JOBB cash account for the YM. And everything looks good. So I'm ready. Then we have our bond trade, and I'm going to trade the bond portion in my Top Step account. And our bond setup, the DMM. Is a bracket of 3. The trigger is 13:01:30. And we have 2 positions. Position 1 is a 1. Position 2 is a 1. We've got a target of 2 and a target of 6. And I use a stop of 3. The stop, we have experimented with 3, 4, and 5. And I'd say about 90% of the time, the 3 stop has worked over the years. For a short period of time, we've done a little bit of experimenting with 5. I've been using 3 forever, and I'm sticking with my setup. Targets of 2 and 6 with a stop of 3. $13:01:30 on the trigger. It's a breakout trade. We will test the link and we'll test the brackets, of course. So we'll apply that. Put the time on 0 for a moment. Make sure we've got room for our brackets. All right. Just curious. Pretty good volume on the bonds. But the market, the chart sure looks quiet. It really does. The chart looks very quiet. 13:01:30 on the trigger time, targets of 2 and 6 with a stop of 3. And like I said, I'm going to trade that in Top Step. Okay, any questions? Any questions? Let's check our time sync. We haven't checked our time sync. We want to make sure that your computer is in sync because we're trading up to the second, right? By going to the website time.is, it checks the sync of your computer. Quite a bit of volatility on the YM. Definitely the YM wants to test the high of the day before this report. It sure looks like it's going to do it right now. That's a magnet trade if I've ever seen one. Now, last month, let's take a look and see what happened here. Orders went on the chart, 13:01:30. We were trading YM as well as bonds, and it was a really beautiful move on everything. It just burst and paid us. So that's always nice. Actually, Brian, I think the DMM was supposed to have been corrected months ago. And sometimes when I catch it, I've caught it sometimes. I've never used, there was a period about a year ago that we used a 5 stop, and I haven't used a 5 stop in more than a year. That's the truth. It's just one of those that got by me. It was a short period of time that we used that 5. I don't think it's a disaster using a 5 if you want to take the risk. Over the years, it really hasn't made a big difference if you use the 5. And I'd rather, if I'm going to get stopped, usually if the trade doesn't work, it's not because of the stop. It's usually because of the type of the move. Very often you'll get a nick fill or a quick reversal as opposed to it just being the stop. So much for the magnet trade. And what's great about it is I wouldn't have risked anything. If it would have worked, I might have had the ability to enter. I would have. But the interesting thing about the magnet trade is if it doesn't happen, you don't get hurt. You just don't have a trade. It's when it gets real close to the magnet and fails, just like any good event, or bad event, I should say, that doesn't work. When something does what you expect, when something expected doesn't happen, that's when you get hurt. Let's look at another bond trade 2 months ago. This goes back to March. And March was very nice on the YM. And let's see what happened on the bonds. It's hard to see. Here's the bonds. And bonds was a stop, it looks like to me. It was one of those bonds that, with the naked eye, it looked like it would have been a good trade. But it was really actually a very fast reversal up and down. And sometimes that happens. Let's look at one more. Let's go back to August. It's almost August already. Not really, but summer's over. August looks like we were not trading live. We've gone through lots of different things with these reports, these bond auctions. They've actually been family money trades at one time. The YM portion of the trade is a family money trade. The YM portion of the trade's been working very well. August, not a great move. That's the worst kind of bond movement, when it just jerks and then reverses. And that's the one that generally the stop size won't save you. So that one was not a great move. The quality of the move was rather poor. So it looks like maybe the YM is calming down a little bit. We'll see how it plays out. It's very funny. Everybody has different reports that they like to trade. Some people love the energy reports. They trade that oil report every week. Wednesday's oil report. And then sometimes people don't trade reports that I can't believe they don't trade. And some trades are tricky to trade. You know, I'm thinking, just flashing through my mind was Chicago PMI. Chicago PMI has definitely been winner after winner. Yet it's a very tricky trade. It's hard. It's a hard time of day. It trades at 9:42 in the morning, and it's difficult because at that time trading in the market can be difficult. And yet it's always the kind of trade where I'm thinking in my head, there's no way it's going to affect the market. It's just too close to the open. And month after month, it just still does what it does. It's quite reliable. The bond reports, they were the foundation originally that this company was created on, if you can imagine that. I would say the two most important, impactful events that this company traded before I got here were the bond reports. Everybody said they were like ATM machines. That's the legend. Legend has it that the bond reports were ATM machines. And then, of course, the jobs report, non-farm payrolls, NFP, which is a hallmark today, still one of the greatest of the greatest. And I'm always surprised. I was very surprised that people did not trade that report Friday. Minimally with bonds. It's been a winner month after month on bonds. Every now and then, yes, there's a loser. What was amazing on Friday is the move that gold made. And we had a few members that traded gold. You got to be strong. You got to have strong, what's a strong foundation is the best way I would say it politely, to trade gold on the bond report. There can be a lot of whipping around before the news. There could be fast whips during the news. It's an amazing report to trade with gold. But last week, gold was an easy fill and it moved over 200 ticks. Now, I'm not saying, I don't blame anyone for not taking that trade though, because gold is tough. That's one that you got to be practiced, experienced, or like the risk, willing to take the risk. It's definitely risking double what you think you're going to risk, at least on that report. But it was a real special move last week. It was something else. I dragged myself out of bed and recorded it. I really didn't feel well enough to trade it. I don't remember a gold move like that in years. It's been years since I can remember a move like that. All right, so 1301.30. 1301.30. Our orders will show up on the chart. Remember, you can press your adjust button if you feel like you're getting too close to a fill before the auction affects the market. So I'm just watching carefully. And then after this at 2 o'clock, I'll be presenting at Festival of Traders. I wish I could do it lying down, but I can't. So I'm a little bit concerned about this bracket. I'm going to make my YM bracket a 10. I'm making my YM bracket a 10. It's only 2 ticks. That's why you got to keep track of which trade is which, right? If you have multiple setups like I just used there, see how quickly I was able to know which trade was the right trade to adjust? That's why you label everything. Always label your trades. Label the setup. All right, so right now it's quiet. It got quiet. No movement. All right, let it go. I'm on my wrong charts. my bonds. All right, so my bond charts, YM just didn't follow through, so it was a teeny profit. Teeny profit. Let's just watch the pricing. I'm not sure what the heck happened on the bonds, to be honest. And I'm not sure I'm going to know until I test it later. Oh. I know what happened, folks. It was my mistake. My mistake. The bonds are in SIM, okay? My bonds are in SIM, and it was dull. You could see it. It's still in the trade. Turning off my YM breakout. The YM breakout, if you just left everything in place with a break even -3, you should have gotten out with a tiny profit, okay? A tiny profit. Bonds in SIM, which I don't really count as being viable, it hit the first target. In my Top Step account, it's still in the trade. It's still in the trade. Interesting that Buell-Knox was a stop out for Giles. Now the market, it's so quiet. There's like nothing going on at all. I don't want to take a full stop no matter what. At this point, I'm just cutting one tick from my loss if it should happen. Don't even ask me. It's meaningless because it's not live, so it doesn't matter. But bonds did not work. That was a bond event that just did not work. You could see that it was not a very good fill, not quite the bottom of the candle, and then it reversed back up, and that's where people got hurt on the bond. Okay? That's why the bond did not work. Now the reversal, maybe some people grabbed the YM reversal. It's dying to test that high. It's absolutely dying to test that high. Hey folks, I gotta take this. Bear with me. It's an emergency. Hello? Hello?
Hi, Mr. Goldstein. This is Kim from Cat Pharmacy.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. I just got a call to remind you that you actually have your Alfusian, whatever it's called, here ready for pickup, and unfortunately it's not picking up by tonight. It has to be returned to stock.
Oh, Lord. So there's no way I'm going to be able to pick that up. Now, I don't even know why that's not even supposed to be there because it wasn't supposed to be called in. So I have a printed,
So you know what? That's fine.
return it to stock. That's fine.
Return it to stock and put it on hold.
I'm sorry about that. Okay.
Not a problem.
Okay.
Alrighty.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Okay, let me know you can hear me again. I'm sorry about that. Okay, so now what's interesting is my YM grabbed a couple of dollars. So let's look at the video and see what happened. Bonds were a failure. Bonds did not work. Whether someone had the wherewithal to take a reversal, it was not the reason that I was setting up a reversal did not really fulfill the purpose. The purpose was if I got filled on the wrong side or filled early, really. But if you think about it, it's not unreasonable to use the reversal if you feel you got filled and the direction just didn't work. So it's another reason you can use the reversal. And, somebody who's smarter than me could make that work. That's the truth. But let's take a look at the video and see what happened because it was very, little bit weird. The YM looked like it was going to be perfect, and then it just failed to follow through. That's what it appears to me. So let's take a look at the video, see if we can make any sense out of it. All right, so here we'll concentrate first on the YM. Orders on the chart, no problem there, 1301.30. You could see in about 20 seconds the price starts to move. There was no issue at all with the volatility. It calmed down completely. The second I put the orders, the bracket a little bit bigger, the market calmed down completely. And there's target 1 being hit, and that's only 8 ticks. And then what really happened is it was a break-even -3, but there was a couple of ticks of negative slippage, and that's why it was only a $20 profit. So, Fred, it seems to me that volume seems really low. Liquidity was very, very poor. Look at the bond chart, just looks so weird. It almost looked like we were trading the wrong contract. I wanted to cancel the trade. It just had this look of very, very low liquidity. But, I didn't do it, but it definitely did not work. It did not work. I accidentally had my chart on SIM on the bond breakout, or it would have definitely, I'm sure it wouldn't have worked in my Top Step account. So I think I just got lucky by making an error, which happens every now and then. You make a mistake, goes in your favor. The YM portion of the trade, it just didn't follow through. It started to, and then it turned. Not really sure for most people that it would have been an easy reversal to take, right? Just watching the YM for a second here, thinking reversal. It's going to take 20 seconds. Orders are on the chart. The YM starts to move a little bit. Now, I'm not thinking reversal at all at this point. Not yet. It's just not long enough in the trade. Because right now I'm in a winning trade. I'm not thinking of closing my trade and going long. Now it takes me out. Maybe there you could say to yourself, okay, it's failing. It's going to go test the high. A smart, fast trader might have considered a reversal maybe somewhere around 93. And it really just, it got somewhere. It made a reversal, and then it failed again. So it was not easy. It wasn't easy. No matter how you look at it, it was not easy. All right, folks, that's just a strange bond report. Definitely a little bit weird bond report. All right, so if you want to join me, I'll see everybody at 2 o'clock in Festival of Traders. Very honestly, we are scheduled for a 6:30 in the morning Bank of England rate statement trade room. And I don't think I can do it, to be honest. And it's a very poor performing report. So I would say it's 90% that I'm not going to do that trade room. If it was a winner, I would be there. I would do it. I would get up no matter how lousy I felt. But it is a report that hasn't been working. So I'm probably not going to get up when I'm feeling this tired. Yeah, it might have. I'm not sure there's much profit there to begin with. You can test it. Sometimes you just can't tell in sim. The real truth is on a bond report that behaved the way that bond report behaved today. The only way to know 100% what the stop would have been and whether it would have worked would be to trade it live, because it wasn't a normal good move, and it's hard to tell what the liquidity would have been at the exact moment you were trying to get filled. That's one of the issues, in all seriousness. Anyway, I think there's something to be said, though. Look at the way this chart looks. The chart just looks bizarre. That's why at the beginning I was putting the orders. I went to the market analyzer. I was actually curious what the daily volume was on bonds. I was actually thinking of looking at ZB924. I don't think I've got the forward contract entered yet. I doubt it. No. Instrument lists, add ZB. The next contract is ZB924. I think there's no volume on 9 as well. Yeah, there's no volume yet on the future contract. It just seems like liquidity is low at the moment. Just very strange. Okay, everybody, if not, I'll see everybody tomorrow. Let me just check the schedule. I just want to give you that heads up. The odds are small that we'll have a Bank of England rate. And I do not like the breakout, folks. So I'm recommending that you don't trade that report. That's my recommendation. I don't like the setup. Unemployment claims is, the only trade I'm trading tomorrow is the 30-year auction. Natural gas, depending on the DMM, but unemployment by itself is inconsistent. So I'm looking forward to WASD. I'm looking forward to preliminary University of Michigan. I'm happy to trade the 30-year bond. In fact, the 30-year bond got stopped last month. I'm only almost positive. That means a good trade tomorrow. I think it'll be a good trade tomorrow on the YM. I'm looking forward to the YM. Unemployment is a coin toss. That's the truth. It's a coin toss. Okay, everyone. I'll see everybody tomorrow. 8 o'clock for sure. 6:30, highly unlikely. Highly unlikely. Just what are you going to do to find out? How are you going to know? Check the trade room lobby. Okay? Okay, everyone. I'll see you tomorrow.